welcome to my new video. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience of it sewing every single day of lockdown and what I learned, some advice, and also kind of showing you guys stuff that I made if I did not actually already talk about them in the video. And yeah, so let's get into it. The first thing is I guess a little bit of background on my sewing journey. So I really started right before lockdown. I think it was in February. I started sewing it then. I took a few lessons and then pretty much lockdown happened, and then during lockdown I just sewed every single day. But I did know a little bit of sewing when beforehand. When I was 16, 17, I don't remember, I had a sewing machine and then I kind of faffed around with it, but never really did anything with it. I had some terrible creations, but yeah, that was about it. But I decided to start sewing this year. And also, I guess the amount of sewing that I did during lockdown was kind of insane. Even now looking back, I think I sewed pretty much on average 3 to 5 hours every day, and then on top of that I had sewing classes as well. So I took sewing classes online from a fashion school in Singapore, and yeah, I feel like their curriculum is kind of insane because it was I think it was 3 or 4 days every week. There was one full day, so it's 8:30 a.m. to, or is it 9:30 a.m. to 2, 1, 12? I don't know. So there was 3 half days and 1 full day. So full day meaning pretty much in the morning all the way until 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And I pretty much took the beginner and intermediate, so we did shirt, pleated blouse with no sleeves, skirt, pants. So intermediate was pants and then a button-up shirt. So I pretty much did that during the holiday as well. So I was pretty much, I think I was sewing 25 to 35 hours a week plus, not including lessons. So yeah, that was basically what I was doing. So it was a lot of work, and yes, I did kind of get burnt out at some point. I think I was complaining to my friend oh my god, I'm so burnt out, I don't want to sew anymore. And I kind of just sewed through it, and then I never really took a break, and then I just continued sewing. So I pretty much sewed every single day. And also the other reason why I sewed every single day was because I was kind of depressed and I didn't want to do anything, but for some reason I could sew, and it kind of gave me, I guess, the motivation to do things throughout the day, to do other things, because I wasn't actually just only sewing. I was also doing my dissertation at the same time, and also doing learning languages and stuff like that, whatever, I don't know. I did try drawing as well, because I have never been really good at drawing, and also I've never really practiced drawing as a skill for sewing, and so I was doing a little bit of drawing sometimes, but not that much because obviously I like sewing a lot. So the first thing I sewed was actually not during lockdown. I think it was just maybe slightly before lockdown, but things started to close and stuff like that. So it was this, I'm going to move. It was this, I guess you would call it a walking skirt. It's made with polyester, which is it is the most polyester looking polyester that I've ever seen, because it's so hard and stiff and not, you can tell it's plastic. But it was cheap, it's very pretty, it's a nice print, and actually it was pretty okay. This walking skirt is made using the butterick pattern that I've used for maybe 3 or 4 times, and then it's closed with a zip, and also 2 sets of hooks and bars, and then one set of hooks and bars is huge, it's this big, but it works. And there's also zip ties in the hem to act as boning, to give it a flare without petticoat, because I don't like wearing petticoats, not under Edwardian skirts anyway. So I would say that this was pretty well done, although the hem was really badly done, and because it's a dipped skirt, I think most Edwardian walking skirts are kind of like that, where the back is slightly longer than the front. So you could see the back, and you could see how ugly the hem was at the back. So after that, after maybe 2 or 3 months, I decided to sew lace around the hem, the inside of the hem, so that if you saw it from the front, you would just see the nice lace, instead of the really, really ugly hem. So I guess what I learned from this was just to do things properly, and if you don't want to do them, don't do them. So yeah. The next thing I did was I did this peacock skirt a little bit before that. So it was this peacock skirt, and it's actually not really a walking skirt. It's actually a like circle skirt that I put boning into the hem as well, but I did pretty much the hem. I made the base skirt before lockdown, and then I kind of added more stuff to it during lockdown. So I added like the ruffles were added later, and the boning in the hem, because the material for this skirt is so heavy that it kind of just sinks into like my legs as I walk, which I think if you don't wear a petticoat, that's kind of what happens. So yeah, I added these. I'm still not happy with the weird like peacock things. So the ruffles are green satin, and then I added the waistband as well, like after. The waistband, I just put it straight on the skirt without removing the previous waistband, and I did that on purpose because the original waistband fabric is a lot thicker, and I think that satin would never, like, it won't hold the weight of the skirt. I'm still not really happy with the weird feather things. I think they look very amateur. Also, I did not finish the ruffles. So these ruffles, I just used picking shears and then I just cut them off at the end, and they are not finished. But I think it's okay because like the ruffles don't really touch the floor, and also like I'm too lazy to hem ruffles. Like there's so much of it. Maybe in the future I will do it, but not now. The very first blouse I made was this black blouse here. It's not great. Like I had to go back and kind of change the shoulders a few, like kind of take in the shoulders a little bit because I felt the shoulder was a bit too low. And also this, like I always feel like stuff that I make mock-ups for never turn out as well as the stuff that I don't make mock-ups for. So I'm like, I don't understand. But otherwise this top is okay. Like actually, to be honest, I don't wear it very often. I think it's also a material problem. Also, Stripe is still here, but he is now asleep. Yeah, so I think generally it's a material problem because it's kind of like the very cheapish polyester. Sorry. I bought this fabric on like sale. It was like those 2-meter bundle things. It was okay. I mean, like honestly, it's my first blouse. Like I don't have any, like, you know, you shouldn't really do anything, work with anything terribly cheap when you first one. But I do wish that the material was just like slightly like less polyester feeling. I also followed this simplicity pattern for it, although I think I may have changed a little bit, but and also the sleeves don't look the same. But oh well. Overall, I'm not that happy with this, but you know, it's the first one, and honestly after that I don't think I made any more mock-ups. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about is this blouse that I made. There's a video that I made of this. I speak in French, but there's like just subtitles and stuff. And I made it with the red top, so the red blouse. The red blouse, I guess for the cream flower top thing, it's fine. Like I have nothing really to say about it except like maybe this part is like kind of rides up a little because of the way the collar is set, I think, and also the hem, the cuffs are like really badly done, and I'm going to sew lace on it to kind of cover it up at some point. But otherwise I wear it a lot, and yeah, I like it, and people always like compliment me on it, so I have nothing to say. But the red blouse no longer exists, and the reason for that being that it was just too difficult to fix. There were a lot of things that happened. Like, okay, first of all, the giggle sleeve was not drafted well and was not attached very well, so it was like really bumpy. It kind of looked like crab soup, like it was that lumpy, and I just like, when I tried to fix it, I cut the sleeves off, and I couldn't be bothered to like actually unpick the sleeves because I was just, the fabric is it's really thick. The fabric is like cotton fabric, and I don't even know why I bought it other than the fact that the red color was very beautiful. So yeah, that was it. And so after I figured that it was probably going to be unfixable, I kind of ditched it. And I mean, I really like the design of the top, and I think that in the future I'll probably make another, because I really do like the bow at the back and then the lace in front and then the giggle sleeves. But I think, you know, it was nice on photos, but there was no way I was going to wear it out because it was way too thick and way too uncomfortable. So I guess the other thing that I would like advice that I would give is to choose your materials well, and not necessarily find the most expensive things, but find materials that you know are comfortable for you. Like, I think the thick ass top would have been okay for a winter, but I live in a country that has no winter, and not even close to an autumn. Like, there's nothing, there's no variance in temperature beyond humidity and rain, which we just had today. The next creation is this black and white blouse thing that looks like Cruella de Vil. Overall I would say this blouse was actually okay. Like, the only problem, because all of the stuff that I make has problems obviously, is that the closures are the back. So I closed them with snaps, and the snaps were weak as hell. It was like I could just kind of like do this and then like the snaps would open. So recently, and when I say recently I mean just now, I actually just ripped out all the snaps and then I sewed hook and bar tape to the back, and now I think it's slightly better because hooks and bars are slightly more secure than the snaps. But other than that, I do like it. It's very interesting because of the black and white, and also I feel like the fabric for this is not the greatest because it's very thick, and also I'm pretty sure it's polyester, but it's okay. It feels a bit like picnic mat fabric, but it's alright. I wear it a lot actually because it's one of the very few short sleeve tops that I have. Oh yeah, this top was made with the same pattern as the red top and also the floral top, so I just kind of modified the sleeves, but the whole you can see like the panel thing and like the collar part is pretty much the same-ish. I didn't change, I always change stuff anyway. The next dress that I made is actually this 1970s. It's not actually Edwardian, so but I'll just include it anyway. It's this 1970s dress. It's very, very easy cut, and then I think you should make a lining though, because I had to sort of stitch all the edges, and because they're huge skirt pieces, there's like 6 or 8 skirt pieces in total. It was a lot, but I think this became one of my, I guess, okay, to be honest, I feel like a lot of people like this dress, and I'm okay with it because it's not really Edwardian, and also I mean I like 70s, I like the 50s. Actually, I don't really like the 70s, but like it looks, you know, it looks like a vintage dress. It's generic vintage dress. I know a lot of people like this, and honestly the people on Reddit loved it a lot. I think like now it's like 2.5k upvotes or something. I don't know. I post on our sewing quite often anyway. But yeah, the people on Reddit loved it, but I'm like, guys, it's a really simple dress. Like, I don't understand, but it's alright. The zip for this is not great, and also I kind of had more fabric on the V, but it ended up being lower because I think that the fabric ended up bunching. So don't do that, because I thought that by adding more fabric it would actually be like it would cover my boobage a bit more, but it didn't. The next thing I made that was actually made for a class, so maybe it's not really counted, is actually this white blouse that has lots of lace to cover up flaws. Ironically, the blouse that I made after this that was using the blouse block for this blouse is done much better. Overall, the making of this blouse was kind of stressful because I did not like the class that I was taking. I did not like, I wouldn't say what I didn't like about the class, but I just didn't really like it, and I think I was also not very well at the time, so like obviously everything kind of sucked. But I learned a lot. I'm grateful that I took this class because I now have a bodice block, but yeah, it was kind of stressful, and the lace covers up a lot of flaws. I won't go into it, but I wear it, so that's great. Sorry, just popping to say that I forgot to talk about the project, I guess, that I love and have worn the most, which is really ironic because I loved and worn it the most, and yet I forgot to talk about it. It's actually this like walking suit thing, so the skirt, and then there's a bolero, and then there's also a matching like belt. I think I just really love this project, and I think the bolero I have gone back to kind of just finish the edges properly and kind of, I guess, save it because it wasn't done very well. I have a video that I'm supposed to be uploading. It's like I'm gonna upload it on Instagram about the making of this, and the walking skirt I used the previous butterick pattern, but the bolero I used this simplicity pattern, which is actually okay because I've used it again and I think it's alright. There are a few strange things about it, but I think all big four patterns are kind of like that. I do like it a lot. The walking skirt and then the bolero together, and I think there was the process of making it for the bolero was very stressful, but for the skirt I think it was fine because it was honestly just the walking skirt and then I added ruffles. The ruffles was a bit annoying, but I think when are ruffles not annoying, so yeah, because I had to kind of stuff the ruffles underneath the machine. I did it outside of my dining table because my table was too small, and even that was like, I was like suffering through it and I was like, oh, I really hate this so much, but it's alright, it's really good. This skirt is brilliant, if I may say so myself. A lot of people like it, I like it a lot, and I think it's one of my favorite things to wear. I think from there I realized I really love the matchy-matchy thing. I still love the matchy-matchy thing, where like, you know, bolero matches the skirt. So in the end, that's what I decided to do for my latest project as well. I should have the video either before or after this of making a red bolero to match my red skirt. But yeah, I think this was a nice make. The next thing I made was actually I think we're pretty much getting to the end at this point, were this tea gown and also another one that I made after. The patterns for both of these are slightly different. This one is pretty much self-drafted. I just kind of draw the front and the back. You know when in Princess Erica, okay, she's not princess, but when Erica says she cuts the fabric out and then she sews the front and back together and it boom, it turns into a dress.
And I stitch it in the front and back and it turns into a gown.
I basically did it for this, and then I just added the lace and stuff like that. It's pretty simple, like shift, I guess, a shift kind of pattern. The other one was slightly more complicated because I actually followed one of the butterick patterns for the top, like sort of the yoke part and the sleeves. Yeah, so I'm okay with that dress. I actually wear it around the house quite a lot. Like now days when I'm at home, I'm usually wearing like either of these dresses or the like chemise that I bought from Etsy, because it's comfortable and I like to actually look presentable when I'm like just being a lazy bum at home. So yeah, the last thing that I made, which I think is pretty much officially the last thing that I made, was this blouse, governess looking blouse, that is kind of vaguely inspired by Mrs. Danvers from Rebecca. I think this was actually one of the most well-made blouses that I've ever done, because that's not much lace, but I think, you know, it's pretty, it looks really pretty in my opinion, because I actually did pay attention to how to sew everything and not to just rush through things that I always do. So actually, to be honest, one of the advice that I would have is don't rush through things. Although I would say that I had to rush through things in the past in order to slow down now. So knowing that I do better when I slow down has, like, I could only have known that by rushing in the past. So, you know, do what you want. You can take my advice or you don't have to, because I don't take anyone's advice. So yeah, I don't have any complaints about this because I actually do like it. I wear it a lot. The fabric's great. I think I chose really well. I chose a shirting fabric, so I mean obviously that's quite, it was a little bit expensive, but I think it's alright, to be honest, because fabric in Singapore is not terribly expensive. Yeah, I like it a lot. I have not much complaints about it, so yeah. I guess that is pretty much everything that I've made. The lockdown, I think, was from May to end of, no, I think it was April to end of June. I will put the exact dates here. But yeah, I mean, I am glad I did the whole sewing every single day, because I think I learned quite a lot during that time. And you know, I think some things are just meant to happen. Like, I don't like to, like, every time I see people go like, oh, like 2020 is like the worst year ever, it's like cancel or whatever. First of all, cancel culture is not my favorite thing. And then the second thing is that I feel like, you know, like life happens. Like even if there was no COVID, what if something else happened? So, you know, try to make the best out of it. Yeah, I know life sucks, but, and I know a lot of people haven't had it worse, but you know, just try to make the best that you have of this or of any situation. So this is me, this whole video is just me talking about how I made the best of the situation. I guess some other tips I would have is take photos at every step so you actually kind of know what's going on, and then when you want to make your own portfolio in the future, you actually have some photos to add into the website, because guess who didn't? Yeah, because I didn't take photos at every step and then I kind of regret it now. I mean, if you can video, that's even better, but I think if you're just a beginner starting out with like trying to learn like video skills and then sewing skills at the same time can be very overwhelming. And actually the last thing that I would advise, which is pretty much the advice that I give to anyone at this point of my life, is to stay off social media. I know it's kind of, I guess, hypocritical and ironic that I'm saying this, because first of all, this YouTube is also social media, and also I do have an Instagram and I do use it, and you know, stuff like that. And also, it hasn't been here the whole time. I'm sorry if you have been staring at it. Anyway, yeah, so stay on Instagram. Like, I mean, I think Instagram is great. Like, it inspires me. Actually, no, I don't think Instagram is great. I think Instagram can be great. It has inspired me. It has given me information, especially like fashion related, like fashion plates, old fashion plates, like some bits of education and stuff. But I don't like Instagram. I think that if you go on it too often, which I think a lot of people have during this time, you tend to get this very warped view of what life is and what you should be doing, because I don't like to be obligated to do anything. So if I see people saying, oh, you should be productive, so I'm like, no, I don't want to be productive anymore. So yeah, I guess limit your time from Instagram and maybe go watch. I mean, I think YouTube is better because you actually do learn something, and you know, go listen to podcasts. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go listen to podcasts and like read some books and stuff like that. I always advocate for reading because I think that that's a great way to kind of better your skills, is to read, go research, stuff like that. So yeah, that is what I think. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed it, looking back at the stuff that I made. So yeah, I hope you stick around, subscribe, like, I don't know, whatever, I don't care. But anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I hope that you're doing well in reopening, deconfinement, and my strike wants to run away. So